Absolutely. I learned a lesson from he was an older guy. He's retired many years ago from real estate now. And I was having a difficult transaction. And he was like, when you start, you learn in real estate school that everything is oppositional. Like everything in real estate should be oppositional. Like for me to have my client's best interests at heart, I have to be trying to screw the other side over.
Oh, okay.
Right. I mean, that's kind of how that's sort of how it comes off when you're sitting and learning everything.
Yeah.
It's like you have this fiduciary duty to like win for them.
Welcome to Agent Success Podcast. If you're a real estate agent looking to succeed in today's crazy market, well, you're in the right place. Each week, we talk with successful real estate agents willing to share their expert insights, trade secrets, and mindset that help them to succeed. There's no fluff, just straight to the point content that prioritizes one thing above all, your success. So without further ado, let's cut to the chase. Hey, I am here with my friend I've known for many years, Mr. Jeremy Wynia. Why don't you introduce yourself, Jeremy?
Sure. Jeremy Wynia, black belt broker team. I'm at Remax Properties. Been there for a long time. That's where we met.
Yeah.
Really, I don't know, 11, 12 years ago.
Black belt. Is that like JCPenney belt? What was that?
Right. Jiu-jitsu black belt. And everyone on my team, with the exception of my assistant, is in jiu-jitsu. So we're covering all the belts out as that is. We have a blue belt. Well, we're not covering white belt, but my assistant technically
would be a white belt, yeah.
So we got a white belt, a blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, black belt.
So it's not black belt team, it's
I'm the lead.
All colors of the rainbow team, right?
We have all of the options.
Yeah, right on. I don't know of any other team that has all jiu-jitsu members.
It was accidental to a degree, but it's worked out very well. You'll find that to do well at martial arts in general, jiu-jitsu specifically, you have to be very thoughtful and conscientious, and you really care about people if you want to do it long term. Because if you're a jerk, people will treat you badly, or you'll leave. Yeah. And so those things have definitely translated over to career. Yeah. Because all of those people that I know are all those things for the most part.
Well, then that actually leads me to a couple of questions that I had dealing specifically with jiu-jitsu. And, we're going to talk about how do you succeed in real estate. And I was thinking about this yesterday when I was thinking about, our conversation that we're going to have is when dealing with jiu-jitsu, there's two levels of questions. The first one is, how has it impacted you as just out of pure real estate, right? How has that impacted you in real estate?
I definitely have made plenty of transactions, of course. It's a very tight-knit group. So the longer you're there, the more people you know. I do some marketing to the jiu-jitsu.
Well, let me take that a slightly different direction.
Yeah.
How is the training and the art itself impacted how you do real estate?
Well,
or has it?
I don't know that it has me particularly. Again, I think I already had some of those things, but I may be splitting hairs or whatever. But I did wrestling forever and ever before that, so I've been wrestling since I was little, and so that is a martial art. A lot of people don't think of it that way, but let's be honest, it really is.
Yeah.
If you're a black belt in wrestling, which isn't a thing, but if you're good at that level, like you already kind of have all these, you know how to work hard, and you know how to take care of people, and work as a group and as a team, and have your own individual goals and team goals and objectives you're going to work hard to accomplish, and that's no different than it is in jiu-jitsu. So in that regard, I probably already was doing those things. Yeah. It definitely made me take things a little slower, be a little more thoughtful. That's probably the biggest change in wrestling. I tell everyone you're a hammer, and you're just looking to pound a nail. Just looking for a nail. Swing that hammer harder if it's not working out right. In jiu-jitsu, it's more like you're a wrench and you're turning a bolt.
Okay, interesting.
A little more thoughtful, a little more slow.
You got it aligned and you're moving it, and it takes its ratchets at a time. Yeah.
Right. I would say that's sort of the difference in how you operate in those different systems. Wrestling is go, 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 and the better you get at jiu-jitsu, the more you're doing everything slow and easy.
Interesting. Okay. So it is kind of funny. I've thought that a lot of times in my life is we get so caught up in the hustle and the bustle and the, I got to get to this, I got to do that. We see that in this industry all the time, right?
All the time.
And so I've successfully only taken 2 jiu-jitsu classes in my entire life, right?
Well, that's 2 more than most people.
Yeah, and I got kindly destroyed. right?
That's what's supposed to happen.
Yeah. And in that though, I did basically they kind of taught me there's a solution to every problem, right? And it doesn't matter, like, and it's weird. It's like, okay, if this opponent does this, there are multiple options for you, and depending on size, aggression, speed, or where they're placed, that dictates your specific movement, right?
Very much.
And you literally have a solution for everything.
Well, let's hope. I mean, when you're caught, and the solution is tap sometimes. But
well, that could be the solution is please don't break my arm.
Yeah, sometimes that is the only solution. Once you get so deep into a problem, sometimes you can't get out. But for the most part, when I was a black belt and having a fair amount of knowledge, I can get out of most problems. Better, better than you could. Let's say. I have more answers to more questions. But it's depth of knowledge matters. But that's true of so many.
No, I was going to say I like that to equate that to real estate, right? And doing real estate is you can always tell when it's not their first rodeo, when it's not their first fight, right? The level of calm, the level of ability that they have to get through something, and quite honestly, their peace with who they are and how they operate in real estate translates to how the client's going to react to anything. You freak out, your client's going to freak out. Like, oh crap, man, Jeremy's freaking out. This must be bad. Right.
Oh, it's a huge, huge thing. And the longer you do this, obviously, the more you can have peace in stressful situations.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about that. I have buyer agents, and they're all younger than me.
Yeah.
Or less experienced, I suppose, is the more accurate answer. And I find that I have calm and peace in stressful situations, and I impart that to them because they're picking up on the difficulty. And I'm like, well, let's wait a second. You have 6 things you're worried about. This one has to be taken care of right now, but this one can wait, and these 3 can wait for 2 days, and these other 2 can wait for a long time. Like, this is not actually pressing. Yeah. So let's work with what's pressing. Here's the first step. So only worry about that right now.
And that knowledge and that the I guess the level-headedness that brings pushes down to the client.
I think so. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I'm always trying to be very calm in all the things I do. I'm a pretty mellow guy. I used to be a total wild kid, but as I got older, I mellowed out a lot. So I'm a pretty mellow guy, I'd like to think, and I definitely feel that I impart that to my clients. Like even when they're worried, I'm like, no, not a big deal. I mean, yes, here's our worst case scenario. Here's what we're working towards. One of my favorite sayings that I tell clients all the time is, we're gonna plan for the worst, but we're gonna expect the best. Yeah. Like, I'm gonna have every contingency option plotted out as best I can, and we're gonna work towards that being the potential case. But in reality, here's what's really going to happen.
But that leads to success as well. That leads to where you're not tapping out halfway through a transaction.
Right? You've got everything set.
It's like, okay, well, we knew this could happen, so here's the situation. Here's how we handle this. And in real estate, it's funny. It's not, we always tell people it's not a matter of if something happens, it's a matter of when something happens, right? We don't know what's going to happen. We know something's going to happen. And how do you handle that? And whenever I deal with a real estate agent like yourself and somebody else maybe on the other, like the listing agent, maybe you're the buyer's agent, no matter what happens, you have an appraisal issue, you have an inspection issue, whatever crap happens, and everybody's chill, the clients always are good.
Right. Absolutely. I learned a lesson from he was an older guy. He's retired many years ago from real estate now. And I was having a difficult transaction. And he was like, when you start, you learn in real estate school that everything is oppositional. Like, everything in real estate should be oppositional. Like, for me to have my client's best interests at heart, I have to be trying to screw the other side over. Oh, okay. Right? I mean, that's kind of how that's sort of how it comes off when you're sitting and learning everything. It's like you have this fiduciary duty to, like, win for them. Yeah. Right? And at least for me, like, winning for them potentially meant losing for the other side because I'm trying to win. It means you have to lose. Yeah, well, that's not actually the case. And he gave me some advice about making sure that everyone is calm and things are getting done well. And sometimes coming to a meeting of the minds that's, like, maybe I could get $100 more for my client, but that's going to make the other side so pissed that they're going to be ruffling their feathers, and they're going to make a wall, draw a line in the sand, and we're never going to get anything else to happen after that, and it's going to be a big mess. And
we already did this, and blah 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 blah.
Yeah, we did these things for you. I find that if you can get everyone to, come to the same conclusion on their own, and everyone feel happy about it, transactions go so smooth. And those realtors that are trying to make everything confrontational, and there's plenty of them that are very successful that you come across, and everything has to be drama, and everything has to be conflict, and everything has to be difficult. I guarantee you're thinking of some in your mind right now, as long as we've been doing this.
I don't know who you're talking about. Yeah.
We're not allowed to name names or anything like that. That's literally not allowed. But there are those folks that it has to be confrontational, or they don't feel like they're doing their job.
Yeah, there's attorneys like that as well, right? And I've said this to a lot of real estate agents. I was like, okay, look, there's different breeds of dogs, different breeds of real estate agents, and the pit bull real estate agent is, people aspire to be. Hey, I'm gonna be the lawyer that gets it done. I'm gonna be the agent that gets it done. Well, getting it done and leaving a trail of collateral damage across the entire city, that's not really getting it done, right? Like,
I don't think so.
I think that's a massive loss.
Absolutely.
It's just because you got the house and you saved, I saved my client, $1,000 on the purchase price. Great, you did that. But your client doesn't want to talk to you again. The other agent doesn't want to deal with you again. Your client is upset. They don't understand things. It's
they're never going to want to, the other side of the transaction is never going to want to deal with you ever again, whether it was your client or the other realtor. And in this business, if you're going to be here, Colorado Springs is a big city. It's a really small town the way it lives.
Know everybody.
You know everybody.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's beyond crazy.
Yeah.
Everywhere I go, my wife's always like,
I know.
Yeah, how do you know?
My family's like, I really hope we don't run anybody you know. I was like, well, the chances are slim.
When it doesn't happen, I'm happy and surprised, to be honest.
Yeah, this is relaxing.
We went out to dinner and we had a nice meal, and I didn't see a single person I know. That never happens.
Wow, it's like being at home. This is cool, man. Yeah, right on. So now I'm going to jump into a couple of things really quickly. One of which is what I call the tiered experience. Okay, and this is something kind of like what you're saying is, how do you deliver that experience without damaging everything, right? So I have what I tell this to my team. We have a tier 1 experience. Tier 1 experience is something that you enjoy doing. It's good for you, and it's good for everybody else involved. Okay, and you enjoy it. Tier 2 experience is something you don't enjoy doing. In fact, you might even avoid it, but it's still good for you, and it's good for other people involved. Tier 3 experience is something that you enjoy doing, but nobody wins. And a tier 4 is, it sucks to do and everybody loses, right?
Right.
So what I found is most real estate transactions are going to be a tier 2 experience for the home buyer, and a lot. Maybe I'm tying that a lot to the mortgage side. And the tier 2 again is where they don't necessarily enjoy it, but it's a really good idea to do it. And everybody wins when you do it. And so I used to ask myself, well, how do, for my own personal business, how do I turn my work into a tier 1 experience for myself? Like doing my phone calls and do my follow-up and doing everything I need to do. But then I switched that and said, well, how do I make that a tier 1 experience for my client? And part of that is exactly what you're saying. You don't necessarily want to be the pit bull and leave the trail of collateral damage. How can you give make it good for your client, but give them experience where they don't regret doing the experience? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it's different for everybody. I get it, but
yeah, I don't know. It's one of those that almost feel like I do a little thoughtfulness to that one, but I feel like, everybody's a mixed bag, of course. In the mortgage side, I do feel like you all have it a little tougher as far as making it that tier 1, because really, for the most part, you're just asking for a lot of data. Like, please provide me with all of these things you're going to have to hunt down. And if you're not a well-organized human, this is going to be difficult for you.
And then when you do find it, I'm probably going to ask for more.
3 more times, once at the very last. And then there's some other human in the background who's going to ask me for stuff that I didn't ask you for and would never think to ask you for, but they did, and now I have to.
And you never get to talk to them, and if we need an explanation, I'm going to have to go figure this out.
Right. Yeah. It's complicated. Underwriting can be a mess. Honestly, that's why lots of, let's be real. Lots of mortgage professionals change where they work frequently
Yeah.
because the people in the background change and make their jobs too hard. So they go somewhere
They
where
go
the
somewhere
underwriting
else.
isn't lame.
Yeah.
You know, we don't really have that, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, not really.
Well,
Yes,
they change, but at the same time, there's not a lot of background requirements, right? You are the background requirement. Your TC maybe.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, we're for most realtors, they're the end all be all. They don't have anybody helping them out. They're doing it all on their own. I mean, the vast majority of realtors are doing the work on their own. I'm sure of it.
So let me ask you. I'm gonna ask a question because you have a team. You have the black belt team, right?
Right.
When did you decide, or when should a new agent or a seasoned agent, when should they decide that building a team is a good idea, or is it just an individual choice, or if they want to grow, is there a certain time when that needs to happen?
Number one, I would say get an assistant way before you think you need it. People don't think of that as part of the team. I think that's, I mean, now you have TCs. So TCs used to not be a thing. You just hire a human and they were your assistant and they did what TCs do to a degree.
Now you can do it on a per transaction basis.
Right, a per transaction basis. I know me, on the other hand, I hired an assistant that's very like numbers, detail oriented. I'm a big picture guy. I'm very big personality to a degree. I mean, I'm calm, but I definitely have influence as far as like you're gonna know I'm in a room and I can't help it. It's just who I am, right? I'm gonna insert myself into conversation.
I think it's the vocals that you have. Has anybody ever mentioned that your vocals are nice and deep?
Oh yeah, face for radio. Yeah.
Well, we're on radio and we're on video as well.
I know, it's changed, but I've always had a voice for radio and a face for radio, so there you go. But no, I love doing radio shows and I love doing that kind of stuff and podcasts. I should probably do it more, let's be honest. I have a voice for it, but now you got me off my train of thought. My assistant, she's amazing. She's very detail oriented. I'm big picture. I'm like involved in all the things, and she's like, okay, here's what you have to do next. She keeps me on track.
Yeah.
Now, I did all these things before, and I never really thought of myself as ADD or ADHD at all.
Sure.
I got good grades in school. I made it through college. I get good grades. I've been successful in
maybe you're high
things.
functioning.
Turns out that that's likely the case. I'm very high functioning. I would make a list, and I would work on the things randomly throughout the day. I wouldn't like knock one off. Do one, then start on the next, and start on the next, and start on the next, and then loop back and finish more of this one, and then get sidetracked and go start something new again and again and again. But by the end of the day,
most of it's done.
I had my list, and I've knocked the things off the list. And then I hang out with someone who's absolutely not that. Yeah. And it's like, finish a task.
Like, Jeremy, you cannot move past this. Like, we have another task.
We have more tasks. Yeah. Like, completely changed my outlook on how I run my business to a degree. And she picked up a lot of the things that I don't love to do. Yeah. I would do them. Right? Like, I don't like sitting in front of a computer and doing data entry.
Yep.
I do it.
Yeah.
I used to put my family to bed at night and fire up my computer and put on some brainless TV show or movie
and just sit there and do it all.
Data entry for a couple hours, right? That was just what you did at night after everyone went to bed. Yep. Well, now I have someone to do all that. So I have more life.
Yeah,
right?
Okay.
And really, that's the answer to the question. You add people when the suffering of you missing out on life is enough for you to start paying someone else to get your life back. When you hire an agent that works as a buyer agent, if you have enough business to where you're buried in work, you could probably bring on a buyer agent, and you can do part. And you don't have to give them every transaction or anything like that.
But you have that.
But you want to give them some. You definitely want to feed them and get something out of it. But that being the case, it's really about, do I have enough to keep my plate full and at least part of their full of transactions? In the beginning, when I brought on buyer's agents, I was drowning. I had so much work. I would say my first buyer agent was probably costing me transactions because she didn't have enough follow-up skills to keep them going, but I didn't have enough time to follow up. So it wasn't like...
And you can't follow up on her follow-up.
Right, no way. And then I got a different gal that came on with me, and she's been amazing, and her follow-up is really good. And I buried her in work. She was drowning in the beginning, and it was like just, helping her stay afloat was all there was. But with that, she made better income than she probably ever thought possible right out of the chute. And I got to have a life because with buyers, you're working especially evenings and weekends.
Yep, when they can get out and see the houses.
And my kids are teenagers, and they're all in sports, right? All this stuff going on. And so it was like I would go on vacation with my family, and they would do fun stuff, and I would pace around and talk on the phone and work on deals.
Yeah.
I'd be gone.
It sounds like a typical agent.
But I'd be gone.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And especially there's this joke among realtors, like if you want to get busy, go on vacation.
That's when everybody wants to buy a house.
I just went on vacation down to St. George, Utah a couple weeks ago, and before I left, everybody wanted to list their house. I mean, all of a sudden it was like people coming out of the work. And my buyer agent, she's on vacation right now. Yeah. And everything was going crazy, like right before she was trying to leave. Like it just
Isn't that amazing?
It is so strange and bizarre. But
what'd you do in St. George?
Bit of off-roading, some hiking.
Okay.
You know,
my dad actually, my mom and dad both just bought a couple years ago they bought a house in a retirement community down in St. George. We don't have any family in St. George. I have no idea why they moved there, but they absolutely love it. It's kind of hot.
In the summer, it's very hot. But.
So my son went through there about, I don't know, this last year sometime, and he said there's some crazy off-roading stuff there.
Amazing. Yeah. Hurricane, Utah.
Yeah.
Is a Sand Hollow State Park.
Okay.
It has like a lake.
Yeah.
And then it has like some camping areas and stuff, and then OHV areas that's massive, fairly massive, but sand dunes, but then rock crawling, buggy stuff that's
Have you ever heard of the YouTube channel Matt's Off-Road Recovery?
I have. Yeah, he's out of there.
Yeah. My son took a picture of the shop when he was down there.
Yeah. No, I've watched some of his stuff, and I watch a lot of content creators that do things out of there. Light Bright. They used to be here, and they come in they're probably here right now. I mean, they're probably setting up in the booth set.
Oh, really?
At that Pikes Peak Hill Climb, because they used to be kind of more drifter race car people, and then they become off-road people.
Yeah. It's a blonde girl and her husband, right?
Yeah.
They do mostly Jeep, but then I think
but they used to be drift people. And then they got into off-roading.
Okay, interesting.
We have some, I don't know them. I know people who know them, like when they were here.
Yeah.
But anyway, they bought a place down there, and they're off-roading all the time. And so I watch a lot of their content, and I was I remember this one. Oh, yeah, this one. But
cool.
I don't have rigs like they do. Like they're
So you have an off-road vehicle?
I have a couple Land Cruisers, different versions, but older ones.
Land Cruisers are a very, we have several Toyotas, and I don't know what the average mileage is. Our 4Runner has 300,000. Our pickup 200,000, something like that. And I drove the 4Runner the other day. My son's like, it's not driving real well. I drive it. I'm like, this is fantastic. Everything's driving perfect. What are you talking about? So, okay, let's talk about vehicles really quickly.
Nothing like getting off in the weeds.
Yeah. So, this is an important thing, right? Is when I took, I got my real estate license in like 2000, right around in there. And there's this old dude that was teaching the real estate class at the time. This was before internet. We had a 3-ring binder.
I did the same.
You just had to go.
I got my license in like 05.
Yeah. Well, it'd be about the same thing. I mean, you had dial up maybe.
I just missed the time frame where you had to go pick up the catalog of the listings. Right. Like it was like a phone book size book. That you went down to PPAR and you got your book.
And you got the book. Yeah.
And you looked through it to find the properties for your people. I just was computer.
You just missed that. Yeah.
I just missed that.
Well, that's back when you had like a 1 or 2 page contract with carbon copy instead of the.
Yeah, not quite, but
yeah.
I think it was like 14 pages when I started.
12. So when I took it, there was a guy in there that said, he was one of the instructors. He said, "Hey," he's like, "don't worry if you're new." He said, "show up in whatever vehicles you got." He's like, "I'll tell you what you got to be nervous about. You got to be nervous about me showing up with my slick hair and my jewelry and my new Cadillac." He's like, "how did I get all that money? I don't know." So he's like, your clients should be more comfortable with you. So there's a big kind of a difference here. How important is that vehicle in real estate? Is it important? Can you show up in a 2002 Camry, or do you need that little bit nicer? Like what impression does that give, and what impact does it have?
Real talk, I've always been a cheapskate when it comes to vehicles. Like even these cars I own now, like they're not nice.
Yeah.
They're not expensive.
Yeah.
My Land Cruiser, extremely. I have a LX 470.
Yeah.
And it's extremely reasonable to buy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's older. It's, not super high miles. I got a great deal. Of course I did.
Yeah.
But I started off in a beat up old little Subaru. I mean, like an 86 GL10, I think it was. Junk.
Yeah.
Right. And then I got an Altima. Also pretty junk.
Yeah.
An older Altima. That was my next car.
So step up your game, yeah.
I had a 4Runner for a little while. Like I like cars and I like changing up what I do, but I don't think it matters to a degree.
Okay.
Right? When you're starting out, drive whatever you got.
Okay.
Right? Now I will tell you, I don't do a lot of $1 million transactions.
Yeah,
I'm just a salt of the earth guy. I grew up on a farm in a little town, or else in Boise, which honestly, Boise is a little town. Even though it's the big. When I was there,
that's the big town.
It was the biggest city in the state, but it's still not big. I mean, like Pueblo is bigger than Boise was when I was growing up.
Oh wow, okay.
The biggest city in the state.
Well, I grew up in southern Colorado in Kansas City, and Pueblo was certainly a big town. They had a mall.
Right.
It's like, whoa, they got a mall.
I remember
man.
when we got a mall. Everyone was like, "Oh, that's amazing! We've made it. We got a mall.
Look at this. We got a grocery store chain and a mall. This is amazing."
Yeah, when Boise got a mall, I was there. So I'm definitely more of a salt of the earth guy. Like my average transactions probably in the 400,000 range. I mean, still to this day, that's where I'm at. So I'm
which is below the average sales price in Springs.
Springs is 5 something.
Yeah.
I mean, if
it's around
if
5.
Did all the way out, I'd probably be close to the average. But I got friends that they live in a different part of town. And they are a different kind of guy, and everything they sell is 700 plus.
Well, both of us live on the west side, right?
Yeah.
And
it matters.
Yeah, it's a different mindset. But let me ask you this: do you take clients out in your car, or do you meet them? Because it used to be that you'd take people places.
You always did.
Yeah.
And so I'm taking them out in my little beater cars, and I don't know that I lost any transactions because of my vehicle. Maybe I did. And if I did, I probably didn't want to work with him anyway. Let's be honest. Probably not my kind of people. I mean, I'm still the type of realtor that, I explain them the relationships we're about to have, but I'm also one of those, like, I believe you should go on a date before you get married.
Yeah.
You should date a little bit, right? Yeah. So I still believe that we go out and look at some houses before I make you sign contracts. So there's plenty of realtors out there that are like, you're going to sign a contract with me before I show you any houses.
That is probably more frequent than it is rare. That seems to be the norm.
It's getting that way. It used to not be that way, but I feel like it's getting that way.
Yeah.
And to me, I've always found that to feel shady, shisty, whatever. Like,
sign with me, and then we'll go. Yeah,
and then like you have to be tied to me forever.
Yeah.
Before I'll go do any work for you. Like, let me show you that I'm worth working with.
Yeah.
And then you come along when
I'm going to put you in my '86 Subaru, and if we still like each other.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to hear a funny story?
Please.
So I've been doing mortgages now for 20-ish years, right? But I started getting a real estate license, and that's what led me into mortgages. I was like, well, I'm going to start real estate, and soon found out I was way better at mortgages, right? But when my very first transaction in real estate, me and my wife, we had one vehicle, and I still have that vehicle actually. It's a 92 or 93 Toyota pickup, right? Single cab, and I only did a couple of real estate deals before I realized I was way happier in mortgages, right? But my broker, he's like, yeah, you got to go show him some houses. So I went and I cleaned my car really good. Took it to the car wash. I picked him up. The wife sat in the middle. It's a stick shift.
Right.
The wife sat in the middle, and the guy said, and I didn't think anything of it because I was brand new, and I was just like, hey man, this is what I got. That's what I got. So if I'm gonna make this happen, this is gonna happen. And then of course I had my CD selection that was down on the floor, so they got to thumb through some CDs.
Yeah, I still have my CD holder thing in my LX. I don't let clients, but now clients never go with you.
Yeah,
it's completely changed in the last decade.
And see, it's what it seems. And I don't show houses, of course, because I'm in mortgages. But it seems like most people you're either meeting them somewhere or something, right? Or looking at pictures online.
Extremely uncommon for a client to ride with me anywhere. Honestly, the last one I think that did. Honestly, the last one that did was my neighbor that lived across the street from me.
So you're friends anyway?
Yeah, we were friends anyway.
Yeah.
And, his wife would be out and about, and then we'd go look at a house. So she'd meet us there, and he'd pop in the car and ride over with me.
Yeah.
Or even I'd ride over with him a couple of times. Like, we just
hey, you go see a house? Yeah, man, let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah.
But that was, it's really, really, really uncommon.
Yeah.
The only time I try to make it more common, I do a lot of work up the pass. I don't know how it's happened, but it just has over years. I like going up to the mountains. Maybe that's part of it. But bunches of my friends live up there or have and moved back or whatever. But I'm up the pass a lot showing stuff. And if we're going up the pass and they're also down here, I'll make sure to
hop
meet
in
them and drive them up.
Okay,
Like we'll take
gotcha.
one call
Yeah.
most of the time. if at all possible.
Yeah. Or you guys race through all the sharp corners to see who.
Not in a Lexus, you don't. That thing's slow as molasses.
And going uphill, right?
Yeah. Oh, what was it? It's the one complaint, right? Toyota.
That's I heard
bad fuel economy and no power, but it's going to last forever.
You get 17 miles a gallon, and it takes a mile to get to 75.
Yeah, they're not the best for that.
But 300,000. I mean, but you could drive it across the country,
and they never
right?
lose value.
Isn't that crazy?
The truck I just bought, like the Lexus I bought a little bit ago, the guy bought it 6 years before for $11,500 with like no miles on it. Right?
Yeah,
drove it for 6 years. I bought it for $11,200 6 years later.
So he spent $300 to drive it.
Yeah, for like 6 years. It's crazy, but and I guarantee I could sell that rig for more than I paid for it right now, today, this minute. I could put it on Facebook Marketplace. They just never lose value. But yeah.
Hey, I'm going to jump to a few questions really quickly since we're hitting some time limits here. Okay. First one is 3 activities that you see that a real estate agent, or any activities, what does a real estate agent need to do right now? Like if you could name one, what should they be doing?
New experience? What
doesn't matter.
I mean, number one, I think, is consistency. In as many things as you can possibly be consistent. So I'm very consistent in my follow-up. I'm very consistent in my communications. And I'm a fly-by-the-seat of my pants kind of human. I'm like a big picture human. I'm not the detail-oriented, analytical person.
Yeah.
I love studying real estate and all that and having knowledge. But really, if you will consistently do anything that's lead production, you'll probably be okay. There's a saying in real estate, I'm sure you've heard it, everything works and nothing doesn't.
Oh, that's good. I haven't heard that.
I've heard it also, they said anything works and nothing doesn't.
Yeah.
So anything you do, as long as you do it consistently and well, it's probably going to turn into money for you.
Yeah.
But the only thing is, most people, they do nothing.
Yeah.
They sit around and wait for the phone to ring.
Yeah.
They're not out there doing what needs to
Have
get
you ever
done.
been in that situation?
Man, when I first started at Remax Properties, I came from a little brokerage, and we mostly worked with investor flipper type clients, right?
Yeah.
And that's how we made most of our money. So we were always looking for them, but we didn't have deep pockets. So we'd have a house we were working on, but we would still be looking for others. So then we came across other people that wanted the same thing, and we'd help them buy and sell those properties. So we were the licensees helping them, buy and sell their flip houses. And then the economy went into the toilet.
Yeah.
Right, and my boss was like, we need better tools, and why reinvent the wheel? Let's go over here. They already have all the tools.
Yeah, they already got the wheel. Yeah,
right? They already got the wheel. Well, that was the hardest time. I can remember I almost quit real estate. I went in and met remember Ken from the South office. I was seeing Ken Richardson. I said, Ken, I'm gonna have to stop working here. I can't afford it. I'm not making enough money. The economy's in the complete tank.
Yeah.
No one's flipping houses right this minute. Everybody's bailed. By the way, it was the funnest time ever to flip houses, and it's the most money I ever made flipping houses. Was the whole downturn, because everybody quit. Right?
Oh,
Henry Ford, right?
Yeah,
if
sure.
everybody's running out of the market, get in.
Yeah.
If everybody's getting out or getting in, get out.
Yeah.
Right? No, same thing. It was super fun. But anyway, I was not doing enough transactions, and I couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
And we had a powwow, and we worked it all out. But that was the time I didn't have the tools to be consistent to find clients, because my clients were such a small pool.
Yeah.
I was only working with flip people.
Yeah.
And there's not that many of them in general.
Yeah.
And now you add the economy going on
into that, and now your pool has become a baby pool
based
waiting.
on housing.
Yeah.
Housing's causing all the problems, and everybody's scared, and everyone just stops. Doing anything housing.
Yeah.
Flipping especially.
Familiar with that particular point in time.
So I was like, well, this is going to be a problem. But that's when I developed all the tools. I went in and I did floor time, and I did open houses, and I did all the different things, and I was out being social.
Yeah.
An easy one that's really hard.
Yeah.
Anytime somebody invites me to a thing, if I can go, I go.
Interesting.
If you took the time to invite me to go do something with you, your family, your friends, whatever, you specifically asked me to do something.
Yeah.
Even if I barely know you, I'll probably be there.
Wow,
because
interesting.
you took the time to invite me to it.
Yeah.
It was important enough for you to ask, So it should definitely be important enough for me to go.
That's very interesting.
But there are days where you're like, I just want to stay home.
Yeah, it would be really awesome just to sit at my house.
To not work right now.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go. Now, if you're watching this, don't feel like you shouldn't ask me. Like, I really like it. But I'm just saying there are days where, it's been a long week.
He's going to do it and he's not going to like it.
And you want to stay home for the Friday night. And every time I go, I'm super glad I did.
Yeah.
It's just, Nadriga Russ wants to stay at rest. Me sitting at home wants to stay sitting at home versus me being busy. And
when I'm moving, I want to keep moving.
Yeah, 100%. I'm that guy always.
Yeah.
So
I got two more questions for you, okay? First question is if you could be a loan officer for 1 week, what would you change? Keep in mind, you're not making congressional changes. You're like just the way loan officers operate, right? Like, what would you change in how the standard loan officer operates?
That's too bad because I would certainly make some congressional changes, especially to do with some underwriting and VA shenanigans. So,
yeah.
I mean, I don't want to get on a soapbox, but I feel like the VA sure causes the people they're trying to help plenty of problems.
It's an interesting,
Yeah. All of us that live it.
Yeah.
Man. They're supposed to be helping, but they're really not.
Dealing with one this morning, so
yeah. I've been dealing with one for a few days. That's been difficult.
Difficult, yeah.
And it didn't have to be.
I feel the same way about the one I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
It's avoidable. So what would you do different as a loan officer than what you see a lot of like? What would be important to you? What would you do?
Man, I don't have a clue what I would do.
Hang it up and become a real estate agent?
I'm definitely not a numbers and like computer kind of guy, and I know that's probably the biggest drawback for me, where I would have a hard time with.
Yeah,
is you guys have a lot of data entry and
stuff
like that, and we have a very limited amount, right? It's like front loaded, and then a little back loaded if you're doing the buy side, but pretty limited.
Yeah,
it's all in little chunks, and then it's all the fun stuff.
Yeah,
man, if I was a loan officer, I think really I think I'd try really hard to make sure that everything was really transparent. I feel like
I like that.
The consumer often doesn't really understand what lending does, how it functions, how it works, what's behind the curtain.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is behind the curtain, like we were talking about. You ask for a bunch of stuff, and the behind the curtain asks for more different stuff. Yeah. And you have to then now get this huge.
Or they want it different than the way I did it.
Yeah, different, whatever, I mean, I would love for it to be a little more transparent for the consumer. And I would love, and possibly the realtor too. I mean, I feel like I know enough about lending to be a lender for the most part. Like, I feel like I'm very knowledgeable about all the things.
Yeah.
Like, my clients ask me, and I'm like, here's the answer, but I can't give you that answer because it could have changed yesterday. And you have to call this professional and ask them because this is all they do, and it's not what I do.
Yeah.
But my answer is generally correct. I know enough stuff, but I still feel like it's it's like the Oliver Twist. Please, sir, may I have some more?
Please, sir, more.
Like, I want money, but I don't know how to get the money.
So transparency. Do you, and this is, I guess, a couple little offshoots to this. When you're dealing with transparency and lending, do you feel, now keep in mind that we're giving the client a certain experience as well. Do you feel it helps the transaction or hurts the transaction by the amount of time it would take to be fully transparent would be almost talk somebody out of getting a house? So how would you deliver that transparency? Would you do a video series where they learn it? Would you just do what? Because right now what we do is like I want to be as transparent as possible, but I literally can't tell you everything. Like it would be it'd be terrible.
It's the government's fault. I mean, I hate saying
Let's
that.
Blame the government.
But we're talking about, let's see how convoluted we can actually make this.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to make it better by making it suck way, 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 way more for a lot of people. Yeah. But that's going to make it safer and cleaner and more equal.
Yeah, well, if you look at it, there's like 30 different people. I mean, I don't know the exact number, but it's around 30. Sometimes it's 20, sometimes it's 50. I've read lots of reports. Like, let's just call it 30. 30 different people are touching your loan file at some point.
Right.
And that's 30 different people that have to perform, 30 different people that have their thing that they got to do, and 30 people that have to get paid by doing it, right? So let me ask you the question slightly differently. Do you think, as a real estate agent, do you think real estate is transparent enough for the common home buyer?
It's getting better all the time because nothing's a secret anymore. Everything's out there on the
internet. You got that worldwide interweb.
Yeah, it's changed the job dramatically. Okay. Right? It used to be we held the keys to the house. Like the photos, the info, the data, the everything.
Yep.
Right? Well, we let the horse out of the barn when we let Zillow. And IDX come in, all the IDXs, and say, oh, I mean, think of how dumb this is. This is crazy, right? Real estate agents in all of, or the governing bodies of real estate, we'll call it, in all of their genius, we're like, dude, we're going to give this company all of the work that we actually paid to have done, like all of the photos and all the data, like that we actually pay money to have created. We pay the dues, we do all the stuff, and we're going to give it to them for free. And then those geniuses are going to take it and make it more marketable than we have been able to. And make us less valuable. Back for us. Sell it back. Sell the leads back to us from the information.
So, Jeremy, I took all of the data that you paid for, I put it together on this website, and now I'm going to sell this.
You had.
Yeah,
that you paid for.
Well, the funny thing is that it's this is what blows your mind is the agents work really, really hard to get that one client, and then they pay a lot of money to get the house where it needs to go, and then they pay a lot of dues and fees and E&Os and everything else, and then that governing body just gave it away. It's the craziest thing. Yeah.
And again, at the time, I don't think anyone saw that coming.
Yeah.
Or they probably wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
But it's like, it changed everything. Yeah. Right? We don't hold the data anymore.
So
the data is completely public.
So if the client wants the information, they can pretty much go get it.
Everything's available.
Yeah.
It's just knowing what to do with it. It's very stressful, right? You can look up in any contract, right? Dora has every single contract on their website.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, you mean like a raw contract?
Right, a raw contract.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like a fully executed contract. Like,
no, just the blanks. Right?
Okay.
Writable.
Yeah.
Right. So if you
PDF
if you know enough, you could write your own real estate contract and submit it to whoever.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend it, and it's not because it's, like you couldn't do it right. It's because there's so many little intricacies, like we're talking about, that change all the time.
Yep.
That you're going to make some errors.
I was in a legal class yesterday, and they went over a bunch of the rule changes that are happening, this next year.
It's like I get so mad when people hire realtors that are like super part-timers, retired and barely doing it, or new and barely doing it, or, it's their cousin who does one every couple of years.
Yep.
Because the market changes so fast.
You need to be in it.
I'll literally get contracts or offers in. Technically, it's not a contract till they all sign it, but an offer in, and I'll look at it, and I'll be like, this person doesn't do real estate, actually. Like, they're a super part-timer because this and this and this won't actually work. Or this isn't even allowed anymore. Or, oh, this is a Denver agent writing an FHA because we don't have that loan limit that they're used to, and they're writing it on. I've literally been like, I appreciate this offer. It's a fantastic offer. Unfortunately, you can't actually do this. They're like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, our loan limit is less for FHA than yours is.
What are you talking about?
They're like, well, go talk to the lender. They'll tell you. And I'm like, I know, and they're going to tell you, too.
And you can hit the magic Google machine and figure it out really quick, too.
Right, but you didn't know because you don't know enough. Yeah. You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So
does your wife help you with real estate at all?
No.
Really? How long have you been married?
21 years almost.
And how old are your kids?
My son just turned 18 on Tuesday.
Okay. He's the one with the one wheel?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's all into longboarding and all of that kind of thing. And he's also like into wrestling and jiu-jitsu and things like that too. But
so you do the real estate side. I know a lot of people that do that, but see, there's husband and wife teams all the time, and some people love it, and some people are like, no, this is not my thing, right?
It would never. Well, I can't say never. My wife is very intelligent at anything she wants to know about. She's going to absolutely know all the things about it.
Yeah.
She's not super a people person. She's not. I mean, if we were going to be a team, it would be her in the background doing like kind of the TC side of things.
Right.
Would probably be the only way it would go down where we'd all be happy.
Well, I was going to say that, and see, that's the trick, is I see husband and wife teams all the time. And sometimes they're just like, they're meshed. It's exactly, it's like two souls that came together, and you're like, whoa, this is like one, right?
Yeah, this was their superpower.
Exactly, but more often than not, I see that when they work together, they don't last a long time doing exactly the same thing with each other, right? Like they're the role, the roles completely separate, or they'll even separate and say, you do yours and I'll do mine, and it's that rare kind of combination that I see and it's usually older couples that I see.
It does seem to be that way.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of young couples that are that in. So
but I'm older now. Look at that.
How old are you?
45.
Oh, you're a baby.
I'm
40. I'm 49.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what. I remember when I was the young face in. I was growing a beard just so I looked a little older. And it wasn't even that good of a beard, Like growing a beard.
Come on,
so
man.
So I looked a little older, so people would trust me. I was 20-something. I don't know, 27-ish.
Yeah.
When I got my license, something like that. And 29. I can't remember. I should know that. I've had about 20 years, so yeah. I think it was 27 when I got my license.
Yeah.
And I looked easily young as that. And
like, who's this kid in the crappy Subaru and the patchy beard gonna help me out?
Trust somebody with a multi, hundreds of thousands of dollar transaction if you don't think they know enough.
Yeah.
And if they look young, then you just assume they don't know enough.
Yeah, like you don't know what you're doing.
Doesn't matter how hard you've been working and having the knowledge and doing the stuff. No one cares. So I definitely remember. And now, all these young people are coming in.
Yeah.
And I'm sort of the old.
Look at this old guy that looks like Conor McGregor over here.
Right. Not lately. Shaved off the beard.
Yeah, you shaved off the beard. Yeah. You had the Conor look going for a while, though.
Oh, yeah, I got stopped all over the place. I got stopped in the street in Vegas quite a few times when I was down there when he fought Mayweather.
Oh,
I was down there for a jiu-jitsu tournament that same weekend.
You have the same build, the same look. It's and you're both into submitting people in a cage.
Yeah. So controlled violence with specific rule sets. That's all what I'm about.
Controlled violence with rules.
I don't like. Everyone's like, why didn't you do MMA? I'm like, I make more money as a realtor than the vast majority of MMA fighters, and especially my generation. Right, I'm old enough where we're talking a long time ago.
Yeah.
When MMA paid nothing.
It was
terrible. Unless you were like the very most famous people on the planet.
Okay,
I out-earned you as a realtor.
I was watching this thing with Ronda Rousey, right? And she was talking about how she's in the top 10 income earners for UFC. And people are like, well, what's the reason? Because, the soccer people are all upset that the women aren't being paid and the basketball people. And she said, make them money and you'll get paid.
Right.
And
it's viewership.
That's what 100%. It is. But then you look at, is it necessarily skill set or your marketability? Because then you look at, like, take Jake Paul, who's, an admirable boxer.
Right.
But at the same time, he's not a Mayweather. He's not a Conor McGregor. He's not
his viewership already exists. He created himself way before he got into this stuff.
Yes.
But the other side of it is look at Demetrius Johnson, right? Amazing, great fighter. In my opinion, probably the GOAT of GOATs in a lot of ways.
Okay.
The best of the best ever, right? Small weight class. He never talks trash. He never swears. He's a gamer nerd. Like, he goes on Twitch and plays video games with the different folks. He doesn't do any of the things that sell pay-per-views.
Yeah.
Right? Except win the fight.
Yeah.
But honestly, that doesn't sell
that's
pay-per-views.
what I was going to say. Is that the marketability, or you're just a good fighter?
He's just a fantastic fighter. He makes them very little money. They let him go. He went over to one, and he's been winning everything there and making them some money too.
Yeah.
But he just doesn't have the draw because he's not going to be that person. I personally know an MMA fighter that he's moderately famous and did some good stuff and spending some things. And he has kids, and he knew he was always going to want to have kids.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't want any of my, I don't want my kids to be finding a video of me making an idiot of myself on national TV, even if it was on purpose and I can tell them so.
Yeah.
I don't want that in my life or in theirs.
Yeah.
So I don't talk any trash and I don't do any of the things. And I'm never going to be a very high paid fighter, no matter how good I am, because I won't do that.
Well, and that comes, look at that in real estate as well, are you the best technically at a contract? Are you the best technically at understanding water rights? Are you the best technically this? Or do you have a marketability? Can you go out and actually market yourself? You have to have the skill set to back it up.
Right.
And there's the old saying that I think it was, I forget who said this, but do you have the best selling book, or do you have the best written book? Are you the best writing author, or are you the best selling author? Right. You're the best selling author. I'm in the New York top 10 or what, best selling books. It's not because you're grammatically correct at every single thing. It's because you can market what you're doing.
Right.
Right.
People can relate to your book.
Exactly.
versus maybe this other book that's very well written, but that's not how they talk. That's not how they communicate. It's not how they think.
A lot of science books are very well written.
Right. Jordan Peterson, I love him. Like you read his book and the sentences are so long and so complicated, and I feel
like,
dumb.
Dude,
right? And I'm not dumb. But you read through the book, you're like, man, this is a lot. And actually, I should say, I don't read books generally. I listen to them.
Audiobooks,
and his books are particularly difficult for audio because the sentences are so long.
You're like reading pause. I got to think this through.
With my eyes, like it's different than when you're listening while driving your car. To show a house.
Do you listen to it at one speed or do you speed it up?
Oh, sped up.
Yeah. How fast?
Depends on the author, or I should say the narrator. But I'm usually 1.75 or 2.
Oh, that's fast, dude.
And if it's like some slower books, you can kick it up even higher than that. But I'm usually between 1.75 and 2.
Okay, I don't know that you're going to understand like a high complex. So I was doing these books the other day. It was Seneca, the philosopher guy, Stoic guy. And when I was up around 1.5, I was like, I got to slow this down because you got to think about it, right? It's like you got to think it through as the sentence is going on.
There's a lot of processing going on.
Yeah, and then you're tying sentences together, and I feel like I had to pause it and like, okay, whoa, I got to think this through, man.
Those books I've got to actually read them with my eyes, not listen to them. It just doesn't work. But most of the time, I just listen.
Okay, last question.
Yeah.
If you're to be dropped anywhere in America, you don't know nobody, what do you do to win at real estate? Like, what are the absolute that you need to do? Like, what's the first few things you do?
I can't think of the guy's name because I want to. Wolf? Something Wolf. Howard Wolf? I should know this. I totally know this. I just can't think of it because I want to.
Okay.
He's infamous through real estate. He got put somewhere and like moved. Like literally what you're saying. He moved. He knew not a soul.
Yeah.
And he held an open house every single day for a year. No matter
every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
Every day. He set one up. He got with his brokerage. Yeah. He figured out, and he'd even hold the same one. If he knew it was vacant, it was easy. He would just hold the same one again and again. We got to end because you're about to run out of space. But
I'm about to run out. Okay.
He literally did an open house every year, and he has a big team and does all this stuff. And I wish I could think of his name, but it doesn't matter. I don't know that I would do that. I don't even love open houses, to be honest. But it's one of those like you're gonna get some business, you're gonna do some action. If you're committed enough, you're gonna make money.
Yeah.
I give most of my leads to chase to my team.
Yeah.
I don't chase that many anymore, and sometimes I feel bad about it. Like, I should probably chase some of these. I don't have to.
Yeah.
I've already been here long enough. Like, I've done this.
What you do now is different than what you do in the beginning. Right. So every stage in your business, in any business, your actions are going to be different based off the stage you're in.
These are for you guys. Work it.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not going to make those calls because I don't have to, because I've already developed all of the other things.
Yeah.
I am working super hard to change and be a little bit more of a content creator.
Yeah.
I've been working on that for a while, and I'm not great at it yet, but I'm getting better.
But you do like to do the food stuff. Tell everybody how they can hear your where do they go to see your food stuff?
YouTube. I've got 2 YouTube channels. I had everything in one bucket, and then it got too diverse, and you're not supposed to do that, and you're supposed to have very specific things.
Yeah, simplified.
So I made it into 2 buckets right now, and I have a real estate channel that's the Black Belt Broker Team.
Yeah.
And then I have a food real estate channel, or just food channel really. That's the Colorado Springs Foodie Realtor.
Yeah.
And I eat all kinds of stuff.
This guy likes his food.
Nice things about it. If it's bad, I won't do a review at all.
Yeah.
I've literally spent tons of money on food, and it was terrible, and I left. And I didn't. I mean, I ate and I paid and I left.
You weren't the Yelp reviewer that didn't even show up to the restaurant. You just want to talk crap about it.
Right. Yeah. I want to help businesses, not hurt them. Yeah. But I am going to start being a little more critical. I feel like people want the data of.
They want it real. If you go in and you say, hey, the tamales are good. Well, tell me if the tacos suck too.
Right.
You know.
Right. And I would always be nice-ish. I'd be like, it wasn't my favorite, or it's not the best one I've had.
Well, like last night, I went to a Korean soul food truck last night. Right. Tacos, fantastic. The way they cooked the beef was fantastic, but it was pretty chewy, but it was still fantastic. Got some pot stickers, the beef pot stickers. Oh my gosh, they were a home run. The veggie pot stickers absolutely sucked. Don't know why, because everything else was so good, right? It was bizarre.
And I haven't done enough of that, so I've been too kind, and I probably will be a little more rough around the edges.
Well, maybe you know how they say give people 10 compliments to one criticism. Maybe you go in and say, hey, the soda's good, but I'm not so sure about the sandwich.
Yeah, and I still will if I can't say enough nice I probably won't say anything at all. Yeah. But I definitely have been overly nice with a lot of places. But yeah, I do a ton of taco videos, as you know. Every taco, I do a beer or a taco video. Generally tacos.
Beer or
right? Because I have a song that I love called Beer and Tacos by a band called Silver and Smoke out of Denver. And the song's awesome, and I can't not have it be on my channel.
So you got beer and tacos.
Yeah, I got the green light that I could use it, so I'm doing beer and tacos like all the time. But
well, cool. I have. Yeah, that was my phone. I have something for you. We're gonna start with. You got yourself a baseball cap, 719 cap.
You know, I'm a ball cap guy. I have a huge collection of
ball caps. I didn't know that. And secondly, got you a an I Love Real Estate shirt.
Well, thank you. I probably don't deserve any of these things, including my bougie
Ola juice.
Ola juice.
Yeah, the Ola juice was
I've
fantastic.
never had it, but it's quite tasty.
It's kind of tasty, right? Well, Jeremy, thank you very much for being here. Always a pleasure, my friend.
Yeah, we'll have to do it again sometime.
Yep, right on. Have a good one. And that was it for Cut to the Chase. Check back next week for more real estate tips. That wraps up another episode of Agent Success Podcast. Remember, you can find new episodes each week at agentsuccesspodcast.com. We hope you found the insights and best practices shared today truly valuable. And if you did, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Remember, your success is a journey of learning and improvement. So let's keep hustling, thriving, and learning. Until next week, this is Tim Chase.